Good morning, guys. Catherine here, Journey Healers. And I just wanted to talk to you guys today a bit about love and relationships and how I guess we've all kind of gotten it wrong along the way, myself included. And I just wanted to share with you guys some of my little aha moments that I've been having over the past couple of weeks. So, over the past couple of weeks, I've found myself shifting in some pretty deep and personal ways. And a lot of that has to do with letting go of the false self that I have created for myself over the years. And when we talk about the ego and the heart and, how the ego is bad for us and whatever else, I don't believe the ego is bad. I believe that the ego is like this hurt little child inside of us that's just looking for love or looking to be accepted or looking to be heard. And since starting that kind of thought process about the ego, I've been able to make a lot more self-discovery and just allowing the ego to speak up. And so my ego, I call him Kevin. My ego likes to be strong and to put on kind of like this front that I can get through anything. And I know that I've received a lot of love throughout my life for being the strong one and for being able to get through this and that and whatever bullshit life threw at me, I was able to get through. And I'd hear, oh, you're so strong. Oh, you can do it. You're so strong. Whatever the case might be. And it's true. I am strong. However, my ego has actually stopped me from being able to access that part of just being vulnerable, of being sad. And anytime that I'm put into this place of having to be vulnerable or to be sad or to expose my truth, I find myself crying. And then it's like the ego lashes out at me and says, like, you need to stop crying. This is ridiculous. And so for the past couple of weeks, I've just been allowing myself to let whatever it is that needs to come up and to just be with it and to be with the sadness. And I realize there is a lot of sadness that I've held on to. There's a lot of grief that I've held on to over the past couple of decades. And in allowing myself to be there for myself, I realized how many expectations I had on other people to actually be there, and they weren't showing up for me in the ways that I expected them to. And so, I might have a conversation with a friend and it's all about her. Or I might, try and talk to a family member and it's all about them. And I'm going like, I'm struggling here, but because I've been so strong for so long, I don't even know how to say the words, I'm struggling. And I don't know how to say things like I need help or I need someone to listen to me. And no, I don't want to hear the spiritual bullshit that goes along with it. I just want someone to listen to me. And I started to recognize that more so than needing it from someone outside of myself, that I needed to give myself the permission that it was okay to be where I was. And I needed to actually listen to what it was that my heart was trying to explain to me. And in that, it actually made me go deeper into this idea of, we build all of these false realities around love and what love is supposed to look like. And so we've got these movies and these books about these great love stories. And yet, for most of us, in our external relationships, we struggle a lot. And we go, I want a friendship like that, but I can't have one. Or I want a relationship like that, and I don't have one. And we get angry that our relationships are not this reflection of what Hollywood is kind of putting out there. Or even like what the love songs are putting out there, these beautiful words that have been written across time. And yet it just doesn't seem like it's real. And you'll often hear people go, this isn't a romantic movie. This isn't a love story or whatever. And I got to questioning, what if the greatest love story we can have is actually the love story within ourselves? And so they talk about two becoming one, and like that's like the greatest love story there is where you meet someone else and you just have this deep connection that the two of you actually become one. But what if, hear me out, what if the greatest love story is actually the love story that you can have with yourself, where the ego and the heart become one, and you just fall in love with yourself, and you just be there for yourself, and you're just there to support yourself. And in falling in love with yourself, you can actually open yourself to receiving a greater love from the world around you, because then you're not going into any of the relationships with any expectation of what people are supposed to give to you, because you've already got it within yourself. Mind blown. This is just something that came to me over the past couple of, I'm going to say weeks, because it seemed like everything else was kind of dismantling around me. And I was told back in August that I needed to fall in love with things falling apart. And I was like, ugh, that really got my ego going, oh, hell no. And yet, in allowing myself to fall in love with things falling apart, I'm actually accessing this deeper part of myself that says who I am is enough, and the love that I have within myself is enough for me. And when I allow myself to love myself and to be there for myself and to listen to what it is my heart is showing me, then I can actually start to show up in the world and express that. And in that, then I start to magnetize these other people who are wanting to support that in me, because they're able to access that within themselves as well. And to go back to like the songs and stuff, it's interesting. All of the songs that are out there, they're all about like relationships and, heartache and heartbreak and falling in love and being in love and all of these great things. And yeah, love is awesome. Connecting with another person it's fucking fantastic. And yet, none of us actually talk about falling in love with ourselves. We talk about how we need to empower little girls to be in love with themselves, to be in love with their body and all of that. We talk about needing to empower boys to be sensitive and to be kind to themselves and everything else. But none of us really talk about falling in love with ourselves to the fullest degree. And so this morning I was listening to the song To Make You Feel My Love, which is sang by Adele now, but it was actually originally sang by Garth Brooks, like, I don't know, 20 years-ish ago, maybe a little bit sooner. And when my ego is in control, and my ego is throwing its little temper tantrums, and it's saying, I'm not enough, and I'm not loved, and I'm not good enough, and all of this sort of stuff. As I listened to the song this morning, I thought, my heart could be singing this to my ego. And instead of telling my ego that it needs to shut up and sit down and not pay attention or whatever, my heart could sing this to my ego. And so the words, if you don't know it, it's like, when the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there's no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet. I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. You're light in my life, you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue. I'd go crawling down the avenue. Oh, there's nothing I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. When we can allow ourselves to just fall in love with ourselves, when we can allow our ego to just be there and not tell it to shut up or tell it, I don't have time for this, or I need to be positive or whatever, and we just allow it to know that it's loved. Because that's all our fear is the ego. And it's just dying to be loved, to be heard, to be accepted. It's dying to just know all of this stuff. And when we push it away, we're actually limiting our ability to love ourselves. But when we allow that ego to come in and we just nurture it and go, I want to make you feel the love that I have for you, then we begin to heal it and to transmute that energy into something more beautiful. And so that's my mission for myself over the next couple of weeks, is to just fall in love with myself again and to get back down to the truth of who I am and release all of this falseness that I've created over time. And to love myself in doing that, and to love myself for creating it in the first place. And so I invite all of you guys to just join me in allowing things to fall apart and allowing yourself to just fall in love with the ego, to fall in love with that voice inside that says you're not good enough or you're not enough or whatever, because your heart is there and your heart wants to love the ego, but the ego needs to quiet down enough in order for the heart to be able to just fill it with that love. And I think that's the greatest love story for all of us. It's not going to come from an external relationship. Maybe down the line we can have an external relationship that just fills us with that love. But for now, we just need to fall in love with ourselves, to fall in love with who we are, to fall in love with not knowing what our next step is, or to fall in love with not knowing exactly who we are, but to fall in love with the journey of discovering who that is. Anyways, if this resonates, drop a comment below. If you have questions, ask them. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks and enjoy your day.